to speak to such kind of technical knowledge people, and myself and Mr. Sundaram will present a topic, advanced control solutions for process industry. What is basically, and we will cover two topics, remote support services and plant asset management for non-intelligent mechanical plant components. APC we are not covering because it is already well established and very very elaborate topic. That could have been one of the topics. So these two topics I am covering: remote support services, plant asset management for non-intelligent mechanical plant components. Third could have been APC, but we are leaving that. What is the need for the remote support services? Need is because expert manpower is nowadays not available at the locations. Many people are leaving to Gulf, etc. Manpower is very less at the operator station level also, and the process people also. So help from the expert from remote locations can be taken, and experts can be a process licensor, a consultant, another end user, another unit, say NTPC, they have got so many units, they are having a problem, it can be taken in remote and other unit can help them. Then DCS service provider can be there, then analyzer system vendor can be there, and machine health monitoring service provider can be there, because that is also a very critical system, machine monitoring. By the remote locations, we can see changes in logic and change in loops can be verified by the experts also before implementing into the main systems. Addition of any equipment can also be monitored by the process licensor also and the DCS providers also. Benefits. Benefit can be there if we come to an agreement with the DCS vendor or machine monitoring vendor to periodically do the remote monitoring. Periodically, maybe say 2 days or maybe daily basis or a weekly basis. So it can improve the process availability by predicting the future problems through equipment profiling, how the equipment is behaving at current point of time. Changing control strategies to increase production as processes and equipment age. Over a period of time, our plants are designed for 20 years, but they are working for 40 years, 50 years. Expert online monitoring, diagnostics, and notification of potential problems can be had from the experts. Benefits. Benefits of this can be improvement in maintenance efficiency and effectiveness, reduce measurement uncertainties, monitor the health of key equipment such as compressors, receive immediate notification of critical conditions, optimize processes based on changing conditions. Any of the assets in the system can be monitored. Last can be monitoring an APC and suggesting the solution. If the APC is not functioning properly, then it can be suggested by the licensors or the DCS vendors. Challenges and concerns can be here. If we give to the DCS vendor or machine monitoring vendor, he is giving the timing support or not. What will be the authorizations? What expertise the remote service provider is going to give, and what will be the security? Everyone should not log in. So these 4 challenges will be addressed by Mr. Sundaram. Now we are coming to predictive management, plant asset management for non-intelligent mechanical plant components. So this is the area which is almost neglected these days. Some of the predictive management which is already there is for gas turbines, process air compressors, synthesis gas compressor, refrigeration compressors, fan IDFD, cooling tower fan. Here we are taking, say, ITCC or Woodward systems, sorry, vendor specific I should not tell. Then we have progressed further, and for the smaller pumps we are taking, boiler feed water pump, semi-lean pumps, blowers also we have gone. But what is happening? For smaller pumps we are leaving it out, and it is resulting in failures. And after the failure we are seeing there is a lot of loss to the process. And other two could be critical PRV, PSV monitoring. Now a system has come by which PRV and PSV can be monitored, it is leaking or passing or not. And this is quite a good thing. And equipment not performing such as exchangers. So exchanger, these are having only a PSVs and PIs and TIs, and we don't know what is the efficiency of the exchangers. So this can be a good area. Methods could be portable monitoring, wireless monitoring, or online monitoring of these systems. Needs. Predictive maintenance is the first step, other steps follow. Predictive maintenance for smaller pumps can be done by addition of sensor in various directions, bearing and winding temperatures. Predictive alerts could be in form of predicting contamination, corrosion, erosion, etc. Benefits. Routine vibration analysis can have 3 steps: early detection, analysis, and correction. Identify the machinery faults such as unbalance, misalignment, looseness, defectiveness, etc. By this, machine downtime will be minimized, system running on without unscheduled shutdowns. Predictive and proactive maintenance will always be cheaper in the long run. Concerns will be solution benefits, initial cost of implementation, and this will be addressed by Mr. Sundaram. One of the system I missed out is a control valve which has been recently introduced by one of the vendors, where they are having pressure and temperature connections from the valve body itself. So valve is there and pressure temperature you can take from there. A PID controller is also inbuilt in the valve, which can operate the valve without getting the signal from the DCS itself. So that can have a fast response wherever the system is needed. Vendor I can discuss off this platform. So I'm handing over to Mr. Sundaram to take over.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank ARC Forum for organizing such events year after year. I think this is really remarkable because this brings a perfect connect between the users and the vendors in a neutral platform where we are able to discuss, let's say, so many aspects so openly, also address the challenges that is being posed by the end users and how vendors can address this. I also would like to thank my company Siemens for giving me an opportunity, and special thanks to Sanjay for agreeing to share the platform with me. Now, if you look at the topic, advanced control solutions, it's a vast subject by itself. I mean, to cover that, for example, in 20 minutes, it itself is a big challenge. So what we have decided was to pick up 2 important points. If you look at a plan, for example, Sasha mentioned from an idea which comes in the mind of an investor to when the plant is actually erected. But if you leave this time, the maximum time is the plant is in operations. And what's more important is service. In today's situation, in today's scenario, it's not possible, for example, to have the skilled manpower all the time at the site. So we have to identify, let's say, advanced technique through which we can address these service issues from remote. For example, we have to give a proactive support to the customer. This is possible only when you are monitoring the plant continuously, which would mean you have to put an expert at site, which is not going to be cost effective. And this is going to be system specific. That means you are talking about a fertilizer plant, you're talking about a base chemical or a paint plant, for example. That means you have to have an expert who understands, and it is very, very specific, for example, to that plant and not a general support like what you get nowadays for a call center or whatever. So we have a lot of modular structure available. We are able to, let's say, offer, the vendors are able to offer such remote support. And some vendors, or let's say many vendors, have predefined service packages which provides not only the service, but also they make the platform for the complete thing. Today, there are some expectations from the vendors, customers, for example. For example, they want professional assistance because it is not possible that all the experts are available at one place or at the plant all the time. They need it, and they have to be available, let's say, at call, or they have to be ensured that at any point of time, the experts are available, let's say, from somewhere around the world. Then rapid assistance in case of, let's say, major incidences. And of course, secure the available, secure and, let's say, safe communication. What the vendor need to offer to these customers, first of all, is expert availability all the time, how we can give them a secure platform through which the information can be transmitted. Now, if you look at the major challenges, for example, user administration, authorization concept, configuration, remote access. There are some more in the next slides. These were existing already in some way or the other. So what is so different, for example, in this remote service platform? If you look at, for example, the traditional support, it is proven that if one knows somebody's wife's or kid's name, within the chances are that 80% of the time you can break the password. Yeah, most of us either put our wife's name as a password or kid's name as a password, depending upon our liking and choice. But this is easily breakable. But what a remote service platform would provide is basically a completely administered platform through which these passwords cannot be broken so easily. That means there are proper firewalls that is provided. There are logins that is happening. We from the pharma industry, for example, are aware of this validation and the need to know who has logged in when and when he has logged out. That is purely from the FDA point of view. But when you talk about somebody operating or let's say looking into your plant from remote, it is essential that you also track this, administrations through administration. That means who has logged in. Then this will give you a comprehensive data about any misuse of such thing. And the security which we will be using or a vendor needs to use is to ensure, for example, that these are properly monitored and these are used with, let's say, some kind of a DMS area, demilitarized zone area. Of course, the challenge is that the initial investment will be high, but then looking at the long-term benefits that it would offer, I think it is always better. Today, security, internet security is one of the most challenging tasks for every one of us. Not only officially, it's also personal. I mean, how many times you have seen your email is being hacked? Every second day you get, some luring offer from somebody in Nigeria that you got $5 million in your account. Just give me your account number, and you don't know how they take it away. Recently, we have heard cases in Delhi that from a police account, for the salary account of police, a lot of money was swindled away. This is possible. I mean, the internet security is something very, very important. With the traditional method, it is not possible anymore to guarantee this. No, the requirement of the customer, first of all, there are systems at site. It could be a chemical plant, a fertilizer plant, it could be a pharma plant, or it could be a discrete plant. What a common remote service has to offer, for example, it has to have a central monitoring, it has to have a calibration and a customer portal, and it has to interact with, for example, the service and support staff that is available at remote. So what essentially this remote platform provides is the interface between the service and support available around the world, round the clock, with the customer through this platform. And as Sanjay was mentioning, it is also essential that we integrate, for example, the EPCs or the service provider also into it. One of the challenge in the earlier traditional method is that the customer never knows what's happening with this system. That means you say, okay, I will do from remote, but you really don't know what this service provider is doing or what this vendor is doing. But with this platform, it is possible the customer is all the time involved and he exactly knows what's happening. He can actively get involved himself and ensure that the plant is operating or is being corrected as per his requirement and not at the whims and fancies of the supplier. So this is, let's say, a collaborative involvement of all, the end user, the vendor, and the service provider, and the EPCs, if required. So, first of all, what it provides is a comprehensive authentication. This platform also uses demilitarized zone to ensure safety. It uses proper firewalls. Many cases, you should, let's say, one can use Linux because it is again very high security level. And most importantly, customer access. Customer exactly knows what's happening. I mean, this is very short, but there are vendors who have installed this successfully in many plants, and we being global, many of the vendors being global, it is possible to give support over the net 24 hours. So it's proven, it's efficient, experts are available, competent people are available, it is modular, not necessarily you should, let's say, install everything at the same time, and it is complete, which will give you take you to the next level of, let's say, automation service. The second point is plant asset management for non-intelligent. Today, most of these equipment that are available, which are intelligent, which are able to tell, I am sick, I am going to die, please change me, or I am not doing well. But what about those non-intelligent assets? For example, there was a mention by Ms. Arundhati in her presentation about, during disaster control, what happens. For example, she said the lube oil pump continues to run. What if I tell you this lube oil pump is going to fail? Yeah, let's say much in advance. I will tell you, for example, this was also addressed in Sasha's presentation. I am today in a position, or vendors are today in a position to predict the state of, let's say, non-intelligent asset. I will take some information about the ARC report itself, which was published previously. If you go for, let's say, corrective maintenance, reactive maintenance after things have failed, typically this is where our great Murphy comes into play. When the pump fails, when the motor fails, one doesn't even find the spanner. Yeah, I mean, things will go wrong when it has to go wrong. Yeah, here we are to change what Murphy's laws are. Predictive maintenance, it is not possible to even evaluate how much it's going to cost you. Preventive maintenance, for example, will cost you less, and predictive maintenance will even cost much lesser. Today, we are investing so much of money, not to spend money on services, but to ensure that the plant runs logically through its life cycle. So, if you talk about maintenance, it can be corrective maintenance, which we discussed, very expensive. Preventive maintenance, yes, but in this way, you have to take some, let's say, shutdowns, for example, for the plant at a given point of time. And there are other ways possible. For example, time-based. Let's say every 3 months, you do overoiling of all the motors and pumps, and clean all the valves and heat exchangers or whatever. And condition-based. This is what will help us, for example, to give or to predict the conditions of non-intelligent assets. And this will give us a lead to ensure that our plants are running without any stoppages. So things have changed, for example, from component-based to system-based to plant-based. Like I said, an intelligent asset, like for example, like a transmitter on the component level, can always give you all the data, what it has got. So it is easily possible to change those components. But when it comes to progressively from, let's say, from the component level to the plant level, it is important that we have a predictive way of control. Yes, initially it could be a little bit highly complicated, but then in the long run, it saves you a lot of headache. This is what all of us are looking for. For example, if you take a pump, centrifugal pump, now there are different ways of predicting its status currently. For example, what's the electrical power it is consuming during normal time? Is it now drawing more current or more power? Now, for example, one can also monitor at the inlet, outlet, the flow, the pressure, and these are information which are passed on to the controller. We have standard faceplates available in the controllers. Most of the controllers have it. And then it is easily possible for us to predict the state. That means we have a standard value, then we have, let's say, a deferred value, then we monitor this and then say, okay, this pump or this motor is now drawing more power and probably you need to do a maintenance, let's say, maybe in 1 week's time or 2 weeks' time. Then you are able to actually plan that shutdown. There are many components, non-intelligent components, for which vendors are able to offer such kind of monitoring. But I would like to talk about, let's say, only few heat exchangers, for example. Here, I mean, you suddenly find the heating is less, or the heating is more, or the cooling is less, and then the plant doesn't perform as it is expected. So what do we do here? We have, for example, monitor the product intake temperature, the service temperature, the outlet temperature, and the service outlet temperature, and then you predict. For example, this is the optimum temperature. It should be there in the outlet or at the inlet, and then you have a service level definition, and then you decide whether the actual temperature you get is exactly matching with the service levels or not, and then you take a action on that. There are, for example, this graph indicates where the optimum temperature should be, and where the service levels are set, and where the actual temperature is there. These are not, for example, theoretical things. Many vendors have installed these at many places, and they have been very successful in bringing down the maintenance requirement and the maintenance cost of the people. So the benefits is, for example, you don't maintain the equipment, you maintain the production. Yeah, I think this is what we are looking for. reduce maintenance costs, then these investments can be put into, let's say, more and more automation and other areas, reduce operational costs so that for the next expansion you have sufficient money or we get additional bonus from the company. Maximize your assets, maximize your asset performance. I think this is what I had to say in this forum. Once again, I would like to thank you for listening to me patiently. Thank you.